I've been cheating on my wife since we got married, but she had never caught me. I always take women, whether fair, dark or chocolate skin, to different hotels, but my wife never suspected me. One day, I didn't go to the office and my wife had left for work early. One of her friends came by saying she was looking for my wife. She was hot and sexy. She had been eyeing me for a while. So when she came, we used the opportunity to sleep with each other in my matrimonial bed. My wife usually closes from work at 4 o'clock p.m. But that day, she unexpectedly came home early to pick something. She walked in and caught me in the act sleeping with her best friend on her matrimonial bed. I expected the worst from her, but she didn't say a word. She didn't do anything. She quietly picked up what she needed and returned to her office. Her friend wasn't even sorry. She eased and went to her house, leaving me alone with my thoughts. When my wife came back from work, she went straight to the kitchen and prepared dinner for me. "Honey, your food is on the dining table," she said, smiling at me. I was afraid to eat, thinking she had poisoned the food. "Babe, you need to eat now before the food gets cold," she said and left. She came back later and saw that I haven't touched the food. "Babe, your food is cold. Eat up," she said, but I replied, "I'm not hungry." I left the food on the dining table and went to bed without eating. As soon as I left, my wife took the food and finished everything. She didn't poison the food. I was afraid to sleep that night, but eventually I fell asleep. In my dream, I saw my wife strangling me on the bed. I woke up, jumped in fear off the bed, and I realized I was still alive. I told myself, I'm not dead. I was afraid my wife would kill me, but she was just busy sleeping and snoring. I couldn't sleep anymore after that. In the morning, she was the first to greet me. "Good morning, babe. Do you sleep well?" she asked. "I haven't slept well," but I replied, "Yes, babe, and you?" She smiled and said, "Of course, yes." I wanted to talk to her, but she said, "I'm late for work. Your breakfast is on the dining table." And she kissed me and went to work. I was left in shock. When I walked to the dining table, I saw my favorite food again waiting for me, but I couldn't eat it. I poured the food for her dog, and even the dog didn't die. My wife didn't poison the food. I dressed up for work and went to my office, but at work, I couldn't concentrate. My conscience kept troubling me. I needed my wife to say something or shout, but she just kept treating me nicely. Not long after, my phone rang, and it was my wife. My heart skipped a beat. I thought she was about to question me, but instead she asked, "What do you want for dinner?" With tears in my eyes, I said, "Please just make anything." She replied, "Don't worry, I'll make your favorite. Pounded yam with eforiru. Love you. Have a nice day and take care of yourself." She hung up and I screamed. I felt like I was going crazy. My wife was hurting me without using poison. I was dying slowly inside. I wish she could have poisoned me instead of treating me like this. I was not myself. My heart wouldn't stop beating fast. Someone rushed into my office and said, "Sir, are you okay?" I snapped and said, "I'm fine." But she said, "Sir, one more word from you, you are fired." She quickly rushed out of my office. I closed for the day and went home, only to find my wife home already. The whole house smelled of my favorite meal, vegetable soup and pounded yam. I felt like a dead man walking. When my wife saw me, she hugged me and said, "Babe, welcome." She collected my bag and we both went to the bedroom. She helped me take off my clothes and said, "Go and have your bath." I went to the bathroom, but I spent a long time in there. I wasn't only bathing, I was thinking about how deeply I have hurt my wife. If I have caught my wife with another man, I would have killed the man and divorced her. I was still thinking when my wife called out, "Babe, hurry up, your food is getting cold." The truth is, the more my wife treated me nicely, the more I died inside. I knew I didn't deserve her kindness and love. I dressed up and went to the dining table where my wife and our 2 children were waiting for me. I couldn't pour the food away this time, so we all ate together as a family. After dinner, my wife went to the bedroom. I rushed after her because I needed to apologize. But when I got there, I found her already in bed, crying. I knelt down, begging her to forgive me for sleeping with her best friend in her matrimonial bed. I promised never to cheat on her again, but she didn't say a word. She kept crying. I tried to touch her, but she moved away from me. "Don't touch me," she cried. I knew she was deeply hurt, so I decided to give her some time. The next morning, my wife got ready for work and left. I didn't go to work that day. I stayed home, cleaned the house, made dinner and brought her gifts. When she came home, she didn't say a word. She just went into the bedroom, saw the gift and started crying again. "Babe, I know you're really hurt. I'm not trying to buy your forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. Please forgive me," I said, kneeling down. She still don't say anything, only kept crying. I joined her in crying because I knew how much I've hurt her. "Why did you do it?" she cried. "Why with my best friend? Why on our matrimonial bed? Have I not been a good wife to you? Where did I go wrong? Have I ever denied you my body?" I had no answers. I didn't even know how to convince her to forgive me. I kept begging, and finally she said, "I forgive you because I love you, and because of our children." She bursted into tears again. "Thank you so much, babe. I love you," I said. But when I tried to hold her hand, she pushed me away slightly. I understood that she needed time to heal. Few weeks later, my wife bought me a lovely gift, telling me she had fully forgiven me. Finally, I had peace. I wasn't joking when I said I would never cheat on her again. Since then, I have only been with my wife. Our love grew stronger and we were living happily. But 5 months later, something terrible happened. My wife was pregnant and I started to feel weak, dizzy, and losing my appetite. My wife was also experiencing similar symptoms, but hers were different because of the pregnancy. She insisted we go to the hospital, but I declined, thinking I would be fine. I kept managing taking some drugs, but I wasn't getting better. Finally, my wife convinced me to go to the hospital. At the hospital, after explaining my symptoms to the doctor, he took my blood sample for tests. Then, he took my white blood sample too, even though she wasn't sick. When the result came out, the doctor looked at us sadly. "Doctor, what is it?" We both asked in fear. The doctor sighed and finally said, "You and your pregnant wife are HIV positive." "Jesus!" My wife screamed and fainted. I was devastated. I wish I had been the only one infected, but I had infected my wife too. The doctor quickly placed her on a bed and the nurses attended to her. I sat there crying, filled with regret. How could a few minutes of pleasure lead to this? Our family doctor had always warned me about my cheating, but I never listened. I always thought I knew how to protect myself, but now I had both my wife and unborn child at risk. When my wife woke up, she went straight home. I cried and begged her for forgiveness, but she said, I have accepted my fate and we move on with our lives. Some months later, my wife's best friend came to my house asking for forgiveness. She was also infected with HIV and I've forgiven her, but out of shame, she committed suicide and died. Now my family and I live a happy life, though we are both on medication. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like and comment. See you on our next video.